I won't need
Yeah,
that.
so,
Use the microphone.
I already have the teacher voice, so that helps. You want for what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So I like to open this up first with the Pledge of Allegiance. And then after we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to go ahead and pray. And then after that, we'll get into the Meet the Candidate Night. So the flag is over there. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Joe, can you please pray for us?
Let's remain standing and take a moment to pray. Gracious God, we bow our heads and give you thanks for an opportunity to come and gather as a community. As we listen to each person, help them to articulate, Lord, what's on their heart and, Lord, what's important to them. And help us to remember that, Lord, as we sit at these tables and as we sit before one another, we should all be for our community. We should all be involved in engaging in what it takes to raise up people in a community that will serve and that will help each other. God, help us to be this and to hear and to listen for all that you have. In power in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so how we're going to do this is we're going to give each person, if a specific question is directed towards them, for example, if a question is directed to Russ, then we're going to give him a minute, 30 seconds to respond to it. And then since he's running against John, if he wants to rebut or say something to that, he will get 45 seconds. Jen has the timer, and I will be able to see it because I have good eyes. I only have bad ears. So, and then that's how we'll go through all of the questions. There are some questions that kind of pertain to everybody, so we'll get that opportunity to go through that. And then just please be respectful and loving and kind to one another throughout this process, please. And that's all I have to say. So, what? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. All right, can everybody, starting from here, Chris, on down to Frank, can you please introduce yourselves, tell us your name and what you're running for?
Okay, I am Chris Allen, and I'm running for the Warren County Ambulance District Board, Subdistrict 4.
I'm Teresa Edwards, and I'm running for the Warren County Ambulance District, Subdistrict 4.
I'm Russ Lyons. I'm running for Ward 2 Alderman.
The microphones are on and they're live, so you can speak right into them. Yep.
Hello, I'm John Worley, Ward 2 Alderman.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Beth Dean, running for a second term on the Wright City School Board.
I'm Alice Jensen. I'm also running for the Wright City School Board, and I guess in a way this will be my fourth term.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kyle Lewis. I'm here tonight running for my second term on the Wright City School District.
And Frank Sykin, running for Wright City School Board.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So we left it open for the fire ambulance district, any of those people to come and speak up. And I don't believe I have anybody that wants to come in there and talk about anything that's going on with SB3 or Prop RT. So I'll go ahead and start with the questions. If I'm wrong, please raise your hand. Okay, cool. So first question. This will kind of go to everybody. So if you have something you'd like to say about this particular thing, but it feels like it's more aimed towards the fire department ambulance district. But isn't approving these sales tax increases putting the cart before the horse? Shouldn't you wait until after the outcome of SB3? So I guess realistically that only goes to the ambulance district. I apologize.
We're both just talking about this. Yes, it does in a way put the cart before the horse. I can only speak from the ambulance district side. I know that they have not had any sort of increase in over 10 years. So I don't think it's beyond the realm that they can use that increase, and that it would help. It would spread it out across other people, not just Warren County citizens. Anybody passing through, that tax would help. You would get their tax to help with that. What do you have to add, Teresa?
I think that pretty much said it all. The board did vote to approve this, and I do think it has pros and cons to it, as you pretty much mentioned. So I think she pretty much covered it all for me.
Very good. If you get another ambulance question, I'll make sure I let you go first, Teresa.
Thank you.
All right. So, what are so this is for the ambulance board. So Teresa, you will get to go first. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the city council you will work on? So that will go to the city council board. But the second part is the follow-up was, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the ambulance board?
I have been on the board for 15 months, so I'm pretty new to it. I have to say that the current board that we have is a great group of people. From being on there for 15 months, I think that we work well together, and I think the big thing is we've just got to continue to work well, and if we have any problems, that we try to get over them.
Chris, would you like to say anything?
I have sat in, excuse me, on several of the meetings recently. It seems that all the board members do kind of get along and they do good. I think that we have to keep in mind, we have to balance those board members with ambulance crews as well, but also the public. So you have to be open to the professional and just accountable and transparent.
Very good. Thank you very much. And I guess I'll go ahead and keep this because this could apply to you guys as well. Can you prove, with Senate Bill 3, can you prove the alternate route for gathering taxes will work well, or are you just guessing? We are not Florida. We don't have a tourism coastline. Go ahead.
There's really no way to tell. I mean, it's all so new at this time. We don't know. You can't guess that, whether it'll work or not.
This is your final answer?
Yep, final answer.
Final answer.
Teresa?
I agree. I mean, we're hoping that it will, but again, you know, it's not proven yet, so it's just going to take some time to see.
All right. See. All right. So that's okay. Yes. Okay, I was going to come back to them after this one. So, John and Russ, I'll start with the other question. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the city council you will work with?
I can't hear.
Oh, okay.
We're turning off the jet engine.
What are the strengths and weaknesses of the city council you will work with?
Strengths and weaknesses of the city council I'll work with?
Yeah.
I think a lot of their strengths are they work well together. They tend to have a good mindset when it comes to, I think they tend to work well together. I think they have a mindset to where they need to put the citizens and the city ahead of personal choices. I think that's one of their strengths. As far as a weakness goes, I really don't know. I really don't know their weaknesses.
Josh?
I would agree that the city council that we have now, they work very well together. But I would say, as far as weakness, I don't think that things are communicated as well as the constituents would want them to be. Like, we can post all we want on social media, stuff like that, but I do think that the discussion, I don't see a whole lot of discussion time and time again about certain things. I think when we're talking about taxpayers' money and spending it, I think sometimes there needs to be more discussion, even though you might understand, constituents may not understand why we're voting the way we're voting. So, and I think that's why people have so many questions.
Thank you. And then the same question on the Senate Bill 3. John, you can go ahead and go first. Can you prove the alternate route for gathering taxes will work well, or are we just guessing?
Can't prove it. I don't think anybody can really prove it because, again, the person that wrote the question, we're not in Florida. We're not a big tourist attraction here in Wright City. What I will say is I think that the council now, and if I'm elected, I will work really hard to make sure that the council is spending every dime of the taxpayers' money the way it should be spent. And if there's questions to be asked, then those are answered properly before we just say yes or no. I'm not coming into this thinking I'm going to change the world. I think the council does a great job with, I've been to a lot of meetings over the last 15 years that I've been here, so I think they do a really, really good job trying to just save every penny.
Russ?
Want to repeat the question?
Yes. Can you prove the alternate route for gathering taxes will work well, or are we just guessing? 45 seconds.
Well, that is kind of a tough decision to make on a question like that, because we really don't know what's going to happen when it comes to the SB3 thing and all that. So, I mean, if it goes through, taxes, levies are going to have to shift, and that's going to more than likely go into the corporate world, like businesses and offsets on corporations and renting and stuff like that are not included in on like the freezes and stuff like that. So I think we need to plan ahead before any of this happens. We need to really look in depth at what we have going on with the taxpayers' dollars, with the income that's going to be coming in. It's not something as cut as dry as many think.
Thank you very much. All right, and then did I do the what are the strengths and weaknesses? Did I just recycle the card? All right, cool. So I did that. All right, Russ and John, you have both spoke of transparency. Please give us one example of how you plan to do this. So, Russ, please start. You both spoke of transparency. Please give us one example of how you plan to do this.
Well, one example is to be open and communicate with my constituents, to have their voices work through me to the city. Anybody that wants to reach out.
Microphone, please.
Sorry. Really bad, guys. I apologize. All right, so okay, so I'm a little nervous. Can you tell? Okay. All right. Repeat the question, please.
Yes. You have both spoke of transparency. Please give us one example of how you plan to do this.
Open communication with the citizens of Wright City.
All right. John, 45 seconds.
Definitely open communication, regardless of what the question is. If I'm for it or against it, there's an answer. A lot of times I think we tend to move away from the stuff that we don't like, and we don't want to answer that kind of stuff. But there has to be an answer given to everybody. So transparency just starts with that, and it's as simple as that.
Thank you. Russ, one pressing issue for us was utility costs. What is your plan since the city has no control over this? You want me to reread it?
Yeah.
Read what was written. And I tried to fix the grammar. One pressing issue for you was utility costs. What is your plan since the city has not control over this? So I changed that to no, because I think that was right. No control over this.
Gotcha. Well, I think we need to look at different ways to try to bring down utility costs for our people. I mean, the prices of our utilities are not going to, drop or anything, but we need to come up with different ways to add income to the city so we don't have to burden everybody with tax hikes and stuff like that when it comes to your utilities. Working with the utility companies to keep our utility costs down is one way. Partnerships, good partnerships, honest communication is pretty much what we need to do.
John, anything you'd like to say? 45 seconds?
As a resident and a business owner in Wright City, I completely get where everybody's coming from about utility costs, especially going through the winter when Ameren likes to add a winter charge on top of the already inflated price. Just keeping discussions open. I don't think there's really any way that a city can stop a conglomerate like Ameren. But I think there are discussions that could be had with Ameren to maybe slow the rate.
Thank you. John, you spoke of wasteful spending of tax funds. Please elaborate with specific examples.
The first one that comes to mind that just happened recently is last year we had a lawn care company that was cutting the cemetery. They were like, I don't know, $800 a cut or something like that. At the city meeting, we went from $800 to over double that. There wasn't a whole lot of discussion about it. The parks guy that referred the company basically said, this is who I recommend. The recommendation was voted on. And that's the kind of discussion I'm having a problem with. How we went from $800 to $1,600+ a cut, and because obviously we're not budgeted for that, so that is always something that I'm watching out for.
Thank you. Russ, would you like to comment? 45 seconds. Microphone. Yes.
Actually, with the amount of budget that we actually have in the city, I mean, there's not a whole lot we can do when it comes to, say, for instance, the lawn care over at the cemetery. Prices increase all the time. It happens to every one of us at home, in the grocery stores, everything. Even our own HOA over at Falcons Crest, our prices have doubled on grass cuttings. I mean, that's just the prices that are coming in nowadays. We have to deal with that, and we have to think of ways that we can add income to offset these higher costs. I mean, it's just something we have to deal with as part of city business.
Thank you very much. Y'all got a lot of questions, by the way. All right, Russ and John, with the looming vote on SB3, please tell us your stance on this and if the ideas you have if it does pass. So, Russ, go ahead and go first this time, because I lost track who went first last time.
Well, if SB3 does pass, it's going to be a shortfall on us. We're going to lose income. But what happens, like I was saying earlier, is you have to end up taxing other entities. I mean, that's just the way Missouri math works when it comes to taxes. I know. Would you stand over here?
I am. I'm just gonna give you the microphone, bro.
But no, with the way the tax levies work and everything in Missouri, we would have to actually tax other entities in order to keep the level of income that we do have going on. And those taxes would be, like I was saying, they would be more into the corporate world than the residential world.
John?
Repeat the question for me, please.
Yeah. With the looming vote on SB3, please tell us your stance on this and the ideas you have if it does pass.
So the very first idea, obviously income's going to go back to 2024. So as Ramiz pointed out, the city's going to lose about 15% of its income. We are going to have to take said budget, and we're going to have to go over it with a fine-tooth comb, I'm sure. And we're going to have to reduce maybe some of the things that we're doing. And then we're going to have to come up with other ways to for income. And so, I mean, that's kind of where the first thing I would do is obviously go over the budget and make sure that every penny that we say we're going to spend is accounted for, and anything that's left over.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing, because I just noticed. All right, Russ and John. So John, you'll go first this time. What is the first thing you will do if elected, besides party?
Well, I'm too old to party, so, and I don't think my hip would allow it. I think the first thing I would do is, I want to get acclimated to what's going on, to completely understand the whole story. Because even if you come to the meetings, you're not getting all the background information, you're not getting all the background conversations that might be going on, you're not, there's a lot of things that you're not getting. So, I definitely would not come in with my 6 shooters blazing, kicking down doors and stuff like that, and trying to change the world. That's not what we're here for. So.
Okay. And thank you for saving time on that one from the last one. That worked out perfect. Russ, go ahead. 45 seconds.
Okay.
You sure you don't want this microphone?
No, but I'll take a repeat on the question.
Yes. The question is, through the basket, what is the first thing you will do if elected besides celebrate?
Probably the first thing I'd do would see about meeting with our city leaders that are already sitting in there, discuss what's going on with the city, the internal workings, the things that, people like me that are on planning and zoning, we don't know certain things because we're not at that level yet. So what I would do is after that, I would read the pamphlet that the city lawyer gives us, get all that good information in me, and then I would start concentrating on infrastructure, our roads, our utilities, planned growth, things that actually matter to the city.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. How often have you attended city meetings for the seat you are running for? How often have you attended meetings for the seat you are sitting for? They got another word in there. I can't figure out what it is. It looks like it says comical. I'm pretty sure that's not what it is. So, yeah.
Me?
So is that everybody? Or is that?
No, we're focusing on you two right now, and then I'm going to jump over to the school board after.
Okay, I'll just start. I haven't actually counted. I'm in a lot of meetings. I try to get to everyone. I try to go to planning and zoning meetings, although I'm not there as much. I have gone to a couple workshops. One of my big things is I try to tell everybody to be plugged in. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running. Because I don't think that we have a lot of people that it's just running unopposed. Right? Nobody wants to get up and run. Nobody wants to run against anybody. Nobody, and without conversation, it hinders our republic. So that's why I decided to run, and I just didn't want to be a hypocrite and say, hey, you know, you guys should do this and you guys should do that and you guys should be plugged in, and then not heed my own words. So,
Russ?
Well, I go to all the planning and zoning meetings. I go to the shopping meetings. The first year that I was getting involved with government here, I went to most of the alderman meetings. And then I stopped for about 8 months. And then I came back to doing them. So that's about what it is. I've been to a lot of meetings, put a lot of input in.
Very good. Thank you. Don't worry, I'll come back to those same questions for you guys when I do all of you guys. So Russ and John, Russ and John, so Russ, you'll go first. What is your stand or view on data centers? Dun, 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 dun.
Well, from what I understand, Wright City turned those down, so I don't see the point of even talking about them.
Okay. John?
same.
All right, Russ and John. John, you can go first. How do you feel about dense, highly populated subdivisions being suggested by developers?
Dense, highly populated subdivisions. Can't say that I'm a complete fan. There's a way to do it. The city has ordinances on how to do it and what we expect. Planning and zoning, when they go through the whole deal, planning and zoning makes sure that that stuff is being met before it comes to the city. But I am not, and I guess it depends on what your definition of highly dense is. Like, I live in a subdivision. I think our subdivision's okay. I like it. I mean, I liked it better 8 years ago when there weren't all the houses around me. I mean, it's okay. There's enough space for everybody to live and be happy. So.
Very good. Russ?
I am not for dense development. I'm not a fan of houses that are stacked on top of each other, that are too close to each other, and houses that would just overpopulate our communities. I like a little bit more spaced out. I think that our development needs to go according to our infrastructure. We have to make sure that our roads and everything keep up with the amount of development that we are experiencing. And that also goes for the fire, for our fire department, our police department, all that needs to be able to keep up with population growth. And to bring in overly dense subdivisions doesn't make sense for Wright City.
What responsibility, and Russ, you get to go first. What responsibility do we have to take care of the poor among us?
Oh, that should be a fundamental responsibility. That should be just something we do as a person, as citizens, as a city. That's just something we should reach out and do.
John, 45 seconds.
I think as a community, Wright City, and I'm gonna shout out some names. The Pearls, Wright City administration does a heck of a job with the food pantry. And like everything that goes into the warming center, it just amazes me that we have such an overwhelming, caring group of people that it has nothing to do with them. And if we could get more, if everybody could be more like that, this community would thrive beyond belief. So I think we do a great job now, and I'm looking forward to even more and more and more.
Very good. All right, John, you get to go first. How do you feel about Missouri changing the tax structure to being driven mostly by sales tax?
I can't say that I'm a huge fan. As a citizen, I'm not a huge fan of taxes. But I also understand we have to, cities and fire districts and ambulance districts and states have to have money to run. So if you're taking away personal property tax, if you're taking away income tax, if you're taking away all this stuff, then how is that? How are those? How are those groups funded? So unfortunately, there has to be some kind of tax. Now I would like to keep it as low as possible because it's just like that's why people moved here. 15 years ago, that's why I moved here. Taxes are extremely low. We want to keep it that way. The way we keep it that way is by, again, going through the budget time and time again and trying to reduce what we're spending and then trying to attract more businesses to bring their business here so they're paying more taxes and it helps the city.
Russ, 45 seconds.
Well, John, I don't think you're wrong there. I actually think you're right. No, I mean, that's how the cities work. I mean, that's how we pay our bills and everything is through taxes. Trying to keep them down, that's the hard part. I mean, it takes a lot of planning. If we can push those things instead of raising them first, the citizens, if we can push those off more onto corporate, that would be great. Different partnerships, that would work out really good for us. As far as it all works out, it's taxes. We pay them, bills get paid.
Perfect. You ended just in time. All right, last question. And so, Russ, you get to go first. The city of Forestell has annexed property in Warren County for the purpose of working with a company that wants to build a data center, large data center. The data center would be within 1 mile of the Wright City School on Cotton Road. So it's a two-part question. One, have you heard of this? Two, if so, what is your opinion on this issue?
Well, yes, I have heard about it. My opinion on the issue is that Forestell needs to think about their neighbors. They need to think about where they're putting these kind of things. If you're going to be sticking it right by a school, how's that going to affect the school? How's that going to affect traffic? How's that going to affect sound? I mean, there's a wide variety there. I personally hope they keep it as far away from us as possible, If we're not going to benefit off of it, why should it be on our doorstep?
John, 45 seconds.
I have heard of it, and I don't think I don't think my answer, I don't think it really matters. Because yes, I don't like it being so close, but if it's on Forestell property and they annexed it, then there's nothing that any Wright City alderman or mayor can do. Although they could go up and state their piece, and and if they're not for it, they could state that at one of their meetings. But overall, Forestell is the one that's driving that boat.
Thank you. And I messed up. I got 3 more questions for you, gentlemen. All right, Russ. So you get to go first, Russ. Russ, you've expressed the need for micro parks showcasing Wright City's history to draw tourism. Have you heard the board talk about budget constraints? How would you fund this project?
Well, this project would have to be funded through the private sector to begin with. Yeah, private sector.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, no,
Short and saving time. Oh, okay.
Wasn't that done?
Oh, I apologize.
Okay. For one thing, what these micro parks would do for Wright City would bring in the tourism on the historical markers. Okay, so now we're talking Civil War stuff and everything. So that can put us on a national registry, which opens us up for federal grants, which is better than state grants. So that's how that would help us.
And if you guys can't tell, I'm hard of hearing. All right, John, 45 seconds.
Can't really say that it is a good idea or a bad idea. I can say that there's a lot of history in Wright City, and maybe bringing some of that to light would help. I don't necessarily know if anybody is going to go, hey, I'm driving through Wright City, let's stop and see where the battle of, I don't know, the Civil War was fought at. I do think there is another answer to that, but I'm gonna.
Thank you. All right, John, not going to read everything in this question, but I'll paraphrase. Some of your Facebook posts in the past had some unpleasant words that were shared. Knowing the Wright City citizens have a variety of political beliefs, why should Ward 2 voters elect someone who talks about people with different opinions?
I am never going to shy away from who I am. That's the way my dad brought me up. So what I will tell everybody is that if some of my words on post offended you, I am truly sorry. That's not the way that they were intended. But I am allowed to say what I want to say. That's my right. And if that sways you from voting for me, then you've already had your opinion about me. So nothing I can say is going to change that.
I don't really know what you do with your 45 seconds here, but do you want to say anything, Russ?
I want to mention them parks again. No, I mean, honestly, the whole idea behind those micro parks and these historical markers is the fact that, well, we have had the Wright City raid here in Wright City. That was a Civil War incident that can be put on a marker and used as a tourist attraction once you are on a national registry. People that go to historical landmarks and visit those locations tend to spend 3 to 4 days longer there. They spend more money. What they do is they spend money in your gas stations. They spend money in your restaurants, lodging. There's taxable income for us through that type of tourism. And it's just a start. No, we don't have, lakes and stuff like Florida or whatever, the seacoast, but what we do have is our own history.
Thank you so much, sir. Sorry to cut you off. All right, John and Russ, last one for serious this time. Russ, you'll I don't remember who went first because we did John and Russ. So if you guys remember, I don't. Russ, you'll go first. What do you feel are the biggest challenges facing our community, and what actions would you take to overcome? I'm guessing the word "them" should be there.
Well, I think our infrastructure for one. I mean, we're getting our roads done. We're starting to get them paved and everything. We need to keep on that. Our parks, like Ruby Park and stuff, the water issue going down through there, Curlin subdivision, the way water runs through that. Those are issues that we really need to look at. I would say infrastructure is a very serious topic around here.
Very good. John?
I'd agree about the infrastructure. We have 8 subdivisions that are going in right now. We have a lot more people that are moving into our town. The roads have to be able to handle, the water needs to be able to handle it. You know, all those utilities need to be able to handle it. The other thing is, obviously, we've talked a lot about it tonight, is the taxes. That's going to be a big issue. Regardless if SB3 passes or not, we should always be thinking about other ways to bring in more revenue so we don't have to up taxes. The biggest one would be cleaning up downtown district.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, switching over to school board. All right, we'll start with Alice. Can you please talk about why you chose to leave the school board and your reasons for running again?
Sure. I will say that I left the school board for 3 years for family and personal reasons. One of the current school board members called it a sabbatical. I kind of like that idea. I would like to be back on the school board. I think I have a lot to give for it. I was an educator, nursing professor for 30 years, so I know a lot about education. I am a nurse, so I know a lot about child development and communicable diseases and school nursing, and I think that gives me a unique background that would be helpful for the school board.
Thank you. Beth, would you like to say anything? Y'all have to remember who went first, because I ain't going to remember.
No, I won't answer that question. I can give it specifically for
Okay.
Alice.
I kind of figured that. Kyle? Frank? I agree. Okay, cool. Thanks for concurring. All right. Kyle and Beth, what were your biggest or most unexpected learnings from your first term on the school board? And the second part, how has this impacted your goals or how you view the district? We'll go with Beth first.
Sure. I have learned a lot in 3 years. It's been such a learning opportunity. I think one thing that surprised me the most is how regulated public education is. I think I optimistically came into my first term with so many ideas that I thought would be so beneficial and helpful for us to implement. But there really are a lot of regulatory restraints and requirements that you have to adhere to. So that was eye-opening for me.
Kyle?
Yeah, there's a couple things. Mostly for me, to kind of piggyback on Beth's comment about just the regulatory nature of public education. I continue to find it incredibly interesting that the state of Missouri, that is so gung-ho about federal control over state issues, have no issues getting involved with local towns, especially if they grew up on the other side of the state or down south or something like that. They love to get into public education. That's frustrating, not only for individuals that sit on the school board, but absolutely the individuals that make a career out of being a teacher board administrators. So I cannot agree with Beth enough on that. Something else that I find interesting, do I have a minute and a half, 45 seconds?
You do.
How we're funded at the state level with the formula. There's some unique math that goes into it, and also this just isn't a meeting that you show up to once a month. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the curtains. We get really good updates from our current administration on how the district is operating from week to week and preparing for our meetings and the materials that we need.
Hey, Jen, can you come sit over here pretty please? I can't see over there either. And I still got good eyes. This is for everybody. So we'll start Frank and we'll go that way this time. Frank, what is the biggest challenges to our school district and what actionable plans do you have to combat them?
Well, I would say that the biggest issue that I feel we are currently facing as a school district is actually the same that we have been facing for several years now, and that is academic performance. When I first ran for school board, and I don't know if anybody from the audience, we can have audience participation, does anybody out there know what percentage of our students are meeting state standards, state proficiency standards? If I told you it was only 50%, would you be shocked? Because that's what it was 5 years ago, and it's worse now. Only 40% of our students here in the Wright City School District are meeting state standards when it comes to our core subjects, math, English, and science. So that is what we need to look at first. It's like a diamond. There's many facets that go into these issues, but things like attendance, which has also been a continuous issue for our district, are some of the things that contribute to those. I have had plans to address some of these. I shared these plans with our school board 3 years ago. None of them were implemented. I am happy to say today, although she did not get them from me, but our current administration has implemented several of my plans, not because they were my plans, but because they were the right thing to do. And after meeting with them, several of those are showing promise. So it's not all doom and gloom, but at the same time, it's a big uphill climb.
Kyle?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I agree that academics continues to be our motto is for our student success, so that will be always number one in the school district, and we continue to see setting goals to improve that moving forward. But it's also systemic nationwide, statewide. If you look at average across the state, we see trends across the entire state. We do have local control, and we need to improve here locally, but just throwing that out there as a benchmark. This district will continue to explode and grow over the next decade. So what didn't exist 3 years ago, which we do now have, is we have a plan for what our growth is going to look like. It's a living plan, it's a living document. We amend it as needed, annually if needed, but we are finally have a good understanding of what our growth is going to look like over the next 3, 5, 10 years. We revisit it each year, but it's critically important for a growing district like us to have our ducks in a row on that. And then finally, something else that I think is really an issue in Wright City, but not only here but across the state, is retention of staff. It's incredibly challenging to retain teachers. The pay is a challenge. The passion that they have come into it day one, it's a challenge. The last few years have been there's been some strain across the community in the state with public education. I think we've turned that. I think it's improving, but we need to work collectively as a community with our teachers and getting back to what it used to look like and educating these kiddos and making them upstanding citizens for the next generations to come.
Alice?
Obviously, academics is always very important, and we want to continue to improve with that. I also agree that the fast growth of our district is incredibly important and a big challenge, so we need to have fluid plans that address that issue. One of the things I am most concerned about is that both at the state, the Missouri level, and at the federal level, I believe that public education is under attack. Funding is decreasing. Factions are fighting over what we should and shouldn't teach in ways that really make local control more difficult. So that is one thing that I would really be looking for and advocating for support for our own decisions about what we want our students to know and learn.
Beth.
I will also talk about the academic performance. This has been a topic of conversation for a few years, and it's a fair question and a fair concern. As Kyle said, and not to shift any accountability, but as Kyle said, it is a broad issue across Missouri and across the country. What I can tell you, if we ask what is the board doing to address that, well, the board hired a superintendent who has a wealth of knowledge in instructional practices, in special education, and she came in and was able to very quickly identify some areas where we can put some measures into place to see some gains and see some improvements. We've seen the recent adoption of a new English and math curriculum. That's something that our teachers have been asking for a while, and our superintendent came in and quickly identified that that was a clear need. We've also seen the adoption of some new assessment tools, some practice exams. Several different things have been put into place and are underway, and I have confidence that we'll see benefit there. But the truth is, those things won't happen overnight. It takes time to see the impact from those types of changes, but I feel confident that we're headed in the right direction.
Very good. All right, this time we'll start with Alice, and this is to everybody. What will you do to improve teacher retention in the schools?
One of the ways that Wright City has been able to retain good teachers is because I think they feel valued. The school climate has always been very nurturing of new teachers with mentoring programs. Our teachers talk about feeling welcome, that it's the Wright City school family. Unfortunately, we cannot always compete with the kind of salaries that they can get in other suburban districts. But that is, of course, one thing that we will continue to strive for.
Kyle.
It's not only competing in suburban districts, it's competing with the private sector because
Yes.
teachers make great employees. But two things that I've done over the last 3 years to assist in addressing this. One is, working with administration and making them aware of opportunities at the collegiate level where we could potentially get kiddos in the district right now that could potentially have college paid for via grants at the state level, and potentially coming back, grow your own, develop them, guide them towards certain colleges, and then have an opportunity to hire them back as a way of planting a seed, and then you have a higher rate of them being retained. Also something we just did recently as part of our policy updates this year. One of the policies that we reviewed has to do with tuition reimbursement for teachers, or actually for any employees, just not teachers. It can be for pairs as well. The policy had not been really used for a while, so we revisited and we changed some language there, and we were looking at the possibility of having that incorporated into our budget to either focus on potential paras that we would get them educated to fill teacher roles, or identifying really, really strong teachers and continuing assisting them in continuing their education as well. So I think those are two near-term actions that we've worked regarding retention of teachers.
Thank you. Beth.
I agree with everything that Kyle said. I think we do everything that we can. We are so grateful for our teachers and their impact on our kids. I think we do everything that we can to create that culture of care and appreciation with them, to make it a culture where they want to be. Of course, at the end of the day, those teachers, yes, they have such a heart for it, a calling for it, but they have bills to pay. And So this is always an area of focus as we look at the budget. It's always an area of conversation. What can we do to compensate our teachers in the best way that we can?
Frank.
So I had been following our teacher turnover rates for several years. And when you generally talk to somebody, one of the first things they say is money. It's all about the money. But when you actually read those exit surveys that our district did every single year, the vast majority of the reasons that our teachers were leaving were cultural related, the culture at the school district. They didn't feel that they were being supported. They didn't feel that communication was adequate. They didn't feel that they were getting other opportunities that they deserved. So as an example, unrelated to us, I've got a sheriff's department up in Lincoln County that's operating under half the budget that he should be operating under, and he cannot pay his deputies what they pay even here in Warren County next door. And the only thing he has that's keeping his entity staff is the culture. Because the deputies want to work there, they will work there even if it's for less. And I'm not saying that we should pay our teachers less. In fact, we are fairly competitive in several regards when it comes to our pay scales. But our new administration is a bit different than some of our previous administration. And again, many of these issues have begun to be addressed successfully to turn that culture around so that when we get a good teacher, we actually keep that teacher here in Wright City. Another idea that I had thrown out a couple of years back is looking into other programs that may be available to encourage teachers or potential teachers to move here to Wright City, because if they had a home here in Wright City, they'd be more likely to stay. So if we had any sort of government granting, funding, special interest rate, anything like that that would encourage them to purchase here, then we would probably keep more of them here.
Thank you. All right, it's for all of you. This time we're going to go Kyle, Alice, Frank, Beth. In regards, trust me, there's a method to my madness. In regards to Chromebooks being our prime source for middle schoolers to receive their curriculum, what are your thoughts on our current system of block listing for controlling to inappropriate content versus white listing? This question is for all school board candidates.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that one, please.
That is okay. There's a word here I can't even read. All right. In regards to Chromebooks being our prime source for middle schoolers to receive their curriculum, what are your thoughts on our current system of blacklisting for controlling some word to inappropriate content versus white listing? I'll be honest, I don't even know what that means.
So my assumption is that question's asking, hey, what are your thoughts on Chromebooks and how it's being used to restrict access to certain sites while allowing access to other sites? So the district has a robust technology policy which is followed for blocking inappropriate sites to students. What I would ask is whoever wrote that question, if you're a parent or something like that, and you are concerned on certain sites that your children are reaching, first contact your building principal and let them know immediately to identify what the issue is. If you're not satisfied with that conversation, elevate it to their supervisor, who's going to be an assistant superintendent in the central office. If that doesn't satisfy your answer, elevate it to the superintendent, and if that doesn't satisfy it, elevate it to a board member.
Okay. Alice.
I can speak to the Chromebooks part. I'm not sure about the whitelisting or blacklisting. Not sure what that means. But one of the reasons I have to confess that I left academia is because more and more teaching was happening online. And I didn't enjoy it because the relationship for me with my students was so important. So I am kind of old school in terms of looking at the research that talks about paper books and getting your hands and your eyes and your book to all work together actually has better results than doing a lot of stuff online. Now, I'm not saying we get rid of online completely, but yeah, I like paper.
Very good. Frank?
So I'm going to agree with Alice to the extent that I think we rely on technology, especially in our schools, entirely too much. As she mentioned, there are several studies out there that have proven that education or knowledge is better retained when you're listening or reading it out of a book. It's coming through your head, through your body, you're writing it down, that feedback's coming back to your hands, that information is traveling back and forth, and you're just much more likely to retain it. I can tell you that whitelisting and blacklisting aside, I don't know if everybody understands what that is, but essentially allowing some sites, disallowing access to other sites, it simply does not work. And I know that because I speak to so many people that we have in our schools that tell me what these kids are doing on computers. We have kids on TikTok. We have kids doing everything in the world other than their schoolwork. So in addition to learning better through books and paper, you're also far less distracted than you are going off onto the tangents when you have access to that World Wide Web in the class.
Beth.
So I'm aware of a situation that recently occurred where a student was able to access kind of a nonsense YouTube video during school hours. And I'm not technically familiar with blacklisting and whitelisting enough to know if that's the issue here. But I would ask the person who asked the question to get with me or someone else and let us connect you to the right group so that if we do have an issue, we can get this taken care of, because it's important. We want to address it. So please come and talk with us. We can get you connected with the right team in the district who understand our technology controls and can look at it and understand the issue.
Thank you. All right. So this time we'll go back to we'll have Beth start. It's a repeat from the Alderman question. The city of Forestell has annexed property in Warren County for the purpose of working with a company that wants to build a large data center. The data center would be within 1 mile of the Wright City School on Cotton Road. 1, have you heard of this? 2, if so, what is your opinion on this issue?
Okay. I understand the question, and I certainly understand the concern. When things like this, like data centers, kind of start popping up all around us and seemingly out of nowhere, it is troubling, especially when it's still early and we don't necessarily have all of the facts and the evidence to show us what the clear impacts will be. In this case, the Wright City School District is not a decision maker here. The possibility of a data center in Forestell near our elementary school, that decision is up to the owners of that property and to the city of Forestell. They're the decision makers there. Certainly, it goes without saying that for the district, our focus always will be on creating a safe, positive learning environment for our kiddos, for our students. So in the event that a data center is approved for that location, of course, we will do everything that we can to work with the developers, to work with site managers, to ensure that we're managing any potential impacts to our students at East Elementary.
Good. All right, Kyle?
Beth put that so, she put that so eloquently, but I want to stress, reiterate, the school district does not approve zoning. We don't approve construction permits. We are not involved in any project being determined outside of capital projects that the district manages. That's just reality. Just like the city of Wright City will not approve anything because it's in this city, within the Forestell city limits. We are very aware of this project. Individuals have already voiced concerns to the district, but like Beth said, we will try to partner with them as best we can to mitigate any issues like noise or things like that nature. The district does have a lot of other things within a mile of our schools, like I-70 and other things that are, that have noise pollution as well. So again, we'll try to be as the best neighborly partner as possible. But again, we have no involvement in the decision making of that project going forward or not.
Right.
So I'm even one step further away than they are. I don't even live in Warren County, so I have even less say than they do, which is virtually none. The only thing that I would say about it is personally, I wish they would put these things someplace else outside of major population centers. I don't understand why they have to be on everybody's doorstep. And secondly, the district would certainly benefit from taxable income from that development, should we not give it all away like it happened during the meatpacking plant with the abatements.
Alice?
Yeah, Beth, good answer. And I have to confess, I was not aware of this project. And I really don't know a whole lot about the data centers and what they really need and how much power. There was a really interesting editorial in the Warren County Record a couple weeks ago, recently, and it talked about, you know, why can't they figure out how to recycle the water and do cooling that way? Why not use solar panels so you're not taking all the energy off the grid and costing us that way? Can those things work? I have no idea, but I think they're good questions to consider.
I need to confess, I messed up. I haven't given you guys any opportunities for rebuttals. Anybody want to say anything to anything? Okay, sweet. I did good. Okay. Senate Bill 3. This time we'll start with Frank. Senate Bill 3. Can you prove the alternate route for gathering taxes will work well, or are we just guessing? We're not in Florida. We don't have tourism coastline.
I am not in Florida. I'm not guessing, but I can also speak as a resident of Lincoln County from a slightly different angle than most of you are probably aware. This is going to be on your ballot here in Warren County, so I've got no say in that. But if you vote to pass that, it is not on my ballot in Lincoln County. So my Lincoln County commissioners have decided to hold off to wait to see how everything plays out. However, even if it does all play out, the percentages that you're allowed to cap are different for Warren County than they are for Lincoln County. So even if both counties chose to do the same thing, my tax rate would be different than your tax rate here in Warren County as it pertains to taxing entities that cross that border. So for me, that would be the fire protection district, that would be the school district, and so on and so forth. So I can assure you there will be lawsuits should that even come into play. So I know a lot of people are a little bit nervous about this, but I think this is one of those things that's mostly destined to fail as they currently have it established.
Alice?
I am worried about SB 3, and I'm especially worried about what it might do for our school district in terms of funding, as well as ambulance district and fire and all the services that we depend on. I can't imagine that a sales tax would be high enough that we would accept it and also bring in enough money to fund things as they are currently funded. So yeah, I'm really worried about SB 3.
Beth?
Yes, I also am concerned. SB 3 is poorly written, poorly designed, poorly communicated, poorly applied. It's going to make it, if it were to pass, very difficult for smaller local communities like ours to keep up with the growth that we're currently experiencing. And for the Wright City School District, it would prevent us from having the revenue growth that we really need to keep pace with inflation. And therefore, it would cause us to be faced, I think, with a lot of difficult decisions in terms of how to operate with potentially reduced revenue. I feel like the Wright City School District has thus far managed the growth that we've seen in a responsible way, including the build of a new school without raising our tax rate. Our tax levy has remained steady and consistent for a number of years, and I want us to be able to continue to manage that growth in a responsible way on behalf of our community.
And Kyle?
Yeah, can you repeat the question real quick?
I sure can. Let me go find that card again. All right. The city of Forestville has annexed property in Warren County.
Wrong card.
SB 3.
That's me.
My bad. Here it is. can you prove that alternate route for gathering taxes will work well, or are you just guessing? We are not Florida. We don't have a tourism coastline.
I cannot prove it, and I don't think the state legislature can prove it either.
The end?
Yeah.
All right. This time we'll start with, Kyle, you haven't gone first in a while. How often have you attended
No, I'll go first this one. Okay.
something meetings for the seat you are running for?
Yeah, I attend monthly for the last 3 years. Personal conflicts I'll have, and then before I was elected, I went pretty consistently to the meetings for about a year and a half before that. So when I moved back to Wright City.
Very good. Frank?
I was regularly attending meetings for years until they changed the date of their meeting, at which point that caused a conflict for me. I sit on a central committee up in Lincoln County, and we have our meetings on the same date. So as the chair of that committee, I have to be there to do that, and have been unable to be at our meetings.
All right. Beth?
I attend all of the meetings. I've been on the board for 3 years. I think I've missed maybe one in 3 years, and then of course attend various committee meetings as well. And then, like Kyle, I attended meetings prior to serving on the board for about a year and a half as well.
And Alice?
Well, I was on the board for 9 years, so I attended a lot of meetings. In the last couple months, I think I've been going the last 3 or 4 board meetings to kind of get more acquainted with what some of the current issues are.
Fun question coming up. How do you feel, and Alice, you get to go first. How do you feel about Missouri changing the tax structure to being driven mostly by sales tax?
Well, that looks like the SB3 question again. I think the sales tax and trying to run a school district or anything within the state is going to be very difficult. It's also a very regressive tax in that it hurts people of lower incomes more than it hurts people of higher incomes.
Beth?
Are we good on time?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my bad here. She says I mixed up the stacks.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. We'll finish this round and then we'll go on to the next one. But, yeah. So go ahead, Beth.
Sure. Yes, I am concerned about it. I think this is referring to some potential legislation to remove the state income tax. That would have a huge monetary impact on our district and would cause us to face, some difficult decisions in how to proceed. So I feel like these things, I feel like our legislators come up with these things to address kind of hot button issues with good intentions, but they don't think through it and identify the right kinds of solutions to really make those sustainable for the people.
Kyle?
I think the reality is replacing tax revenue with sales tax, it's going to get cutthroat real quick between different taxing entities in different counties. We already have two sales tax initiatives on the ballot now, and if the Senate bill passes, it's just going to continue to stack on top of each other year over year. Right now, the tax rate, I think, is right about 10%. And we're going to be at 15-20% before you know it. And then you're going to have other taxing entities next to us, whether it be St. Charles County, Winsfield, Warrenton. It's going to get real competitive for businesses, and they're going to go where the sales taxes are lower. So not only are you hurting individuals that are buying most of their stuff here, but you potentially could be really hurting future businesses as well, because you're deterring them from setting up shop here if our sales tax is higher than other local areas.
Frank?
So one of the things I always get tired of is the government messing with things in order to fix them. It just continuously makes them worse than they were before. Overall, I'm a small government guy. I'm a low tax guy. I'm also the guy that regardless of what hand I'm dealt, I'm going to figure out how to deal with it.
Done.
Done.
Mic drop? I'm Mike, and I can drop the mic. All right, so I think that's all the questions. She's trying to talk to my bad ear again. Give me 1 second. What's my bad ear? Sounds good. She has a really good idea. We'll start with Chris. We'll work our way down. You have 2 minutes to go ahead and address anything that you would like to say after this. And then after that, we'll wrap up with the mayor. She will tell us her thoughts and what she would like to share. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, again, I'm Chris Allen. I've lived here for over 34 years. Most of my experience is in law enforcement, so I think that I'd make a good candidate for the ambulance board because I'm used to working with the MS workers. Been there, watched what goes on the scenes, know their training, know their things like that. So I just think that would be helpful.
Teresa?
I'm Teresa Edwards. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I have been on the board for the last 15 months. It is the first time that I've actually been able to run for a public office due to working and traveling and family issues. I have to tell you that the job of a board director comes down to 2 main responsibilities, and that's implementing and overseeing policies and procedures and managing finances, and to make sure that we stay within budget while being responsible with taxpayer dollars. I've been actually in Warren County for 26 years. I worked in IT and project management for 20 years. I'm giving my age away, so don't add them all up, okay? I then worked for 13 years in the healthcare benefits industry. And then I've also been on the board and treasurer of 2 nonprofit organizations. So I believe that I bring a diverse background to this job to where I can, I know healthcare, I know how to work projects, and I know finances. I can just tell you that no matter what, this has been the best 15 months that I've spent. We have an incredible Warren County Ambulance District. The EMTs and paramedics are amazing. They're compassionate. They constantly search for more training to be able to be the best. We have a great chief, deputy chief that looks over the district and running it. So I just hope that I can get your vote and continue on.
All right. Russ.
Okay, my name's Russ Lyons. We all know I'm running for alderman, and I'm a bit nervous up here. There I went and did it again. What was the question?
Just, you got 2 minutes to tell us about yourself or address anything that wasn't addressed.
Okay, well, about myself, a couple years ago I got on planning and zoning with the city. So far that's gone pretty good. I really enjoy it. I like mixing it up here and putting my input and everything. What else? I'm on planning and zoning. I'm the president of my HOA over Falcons Crest subdivision. Sponsor of National Nights Out. I do the snow cones for National Nights Out, Wright City Police Department. In the beginning, I helped kick off the Wright City Police Department drone program by donating personal finances towards it. I just really love this city, and I really want things to go good for the city, and I want to listen to people face to face. I'm terrible on Facebook, guys. If anybody's looked it up, I'm terrible at that. Getting I really would like to represent Ward 2 at the best of my ability, and I promise to stay open and transparent with whoever votes for me, or well, the whole city actually. Other than that, a vote for Russ is a vote for all of us.
John.
So my family and I have lived here for 15 years, and I've witnessed Wright City transform, and with growth comes problems. I'm running because I feel that I can help keep the momentum moving forward with a common sense approach and always be honest and transparent. I would like to just take this time to thank everybody for coming. A couple things that I spend my time doing is I am part of the Warren County Central Committee. I'm the treasurer. I am currently on the Board of Adjustments for Wright City, co-owner of the Produce Guys Produce Stand, which you guys probably see out at during produce season, out by Fastlane. Me and my wife also own the Worley & Company General Store, and I've been basically training in leadership my whole life. From the time I was a kid in Boy Scouts and obtaining the rank of Eagle Scout, all through high school, captains of various football and track and field teams, United States military, where I was a corporal. I'm a combat vet, combat medic. I ran my own company for 20 years, Wired Up Communications, and the last thing I would like to say is leadership is not about what you have done. It's what you're going to do and how you and your community are going to complete the mission. Thanks for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Beth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all so much for coming tonight and for being involved in this way. And thank you to the Chamber for faithfully hosting this every year. We appreciate your efforts. My family and I have lived in Wright City for almost 20 years. My husband and I have two sons, one in high school and younger sons in middle school. And Wright City School District has been a great experience for us, and the schools have been a meaningful part of our own family's journey. So I appreciate the opportunity to give back and contribute in this way. Of course, the ultimate driver for me in this is just a value of our children. The precious children and young people of Wright City, they are the next generation. They are coming up behind us, and of course it's our honor and responsibility to invest in them and to pour into them in any way that we can. I'm not running because I feel that I have all of the answers, but really I'm doing this because it's about listening to our community, about listening to parents, students, our staff, our teachers, and ensuring that those perspectives and voices are well represented in board governance.
Alice.
I also appreciate all of you coming tonight, and I think it's wonderful to see how many people are involved and care about their local government. So I thank you for that. As you know, I was on the school board for 9 years previously, so I'd just like to say a couple things that happened during that time. One of the key things was the introduction of ruler and socio-emotional learning. Keep getting those mixed up. But I worked with both West and East Elementary in implementing a lot of that, did some book studies with them. I was also active in the Missouri School Board Association. I have basic, advanced, and master certification from Missouri School Board Association. And I presented at a couple conferences that I attended, and part of that was with some of the teachers to talk about the social and emotional learning that we had done. I was on the board during COVID. I think being a nurse helped during that time. It was a tough time because there were a lot of different opinions about what should have been done. But one of the things that is true is that the Wright City schools never had to close because of high infection rates. So I hope that you will remember those things as you go to vote on April 7th.
Kyle.
I'll echo Alice. Thank you everybody for spending your Tuesday evening with us tonight. So again, my name's Kyle Lewis. My wife Mackenzie and I, we have 2 kids, but they're on the way. Our oldest, Otto, he's in preschool, so he is currently a member of the Wright City School District. As was I. This is my hometown, grew up here, born and raised, 2011 graduate. Both my parents graduated here, so I have deep commitment and investment in this community. It is my community, it's our community, but I only want the best for us moving forward. This will be my second term. Other things about me, that within the community, I'm also president of the Wright City Lions Club, sit on a couple scholarship boards. For my day job, I've had the pleasure of working for Boeing for the last 10 years. Currently, I'm a program manager there, and it keeps me very, very busy along with this as well. So that's a little bit about me. I do have a Facebook page that I'm active on, so feel free to reach out there, or either if you want to chat more, we can talk a little bit later tonight, or just shoot me an email. I'm always open to listen to the concerns or comments from constituents from the Wright City School District. So thank you.
Frank. All right. Thank you guys for coming. I moved out here in 2012 with my partner Renee. At the time, I had a son who was just shy of 2 years old. He's currently a freshman in our high school, and my daughter is in 4th grade. My significant other, Renee, she didn't like that I wrote this, but I fired her. She worked for me, I'm self-employed, so that she could serve as a sub in our school district. Because we had such a need for substitutes, she felt she would be doing a better duty to the community than staying at home and working with me all day long. I'm active in the community, very active in our schools. So background check volunteer. You see me at many school events, including Veterans Day assemblies, talent shows, parties, band performances and competitions, sporting events. I participated in our literacy committee this last year, driven floats and parades, and all other manners of school events, both near and far, some of which may have me going out of state here shortly. I think we must do a better job educating our next generation. I think we must have safe schools. We must have transparency. We must be responsible with tax monies, and we must return to actual local control. With me, there's no cliches, no slogans, no unsupported claims. I say what I mean what I say, and I have done things for the district despite not even being on the board. I made security-related suggestions to our district which were implemented, and our schools are now safer as a result. I've saved the district money on a couple of different projects. Our district is currently implementing some of the proposals that I've made in the past that are showing the great potential for success. I've personally worked with some of our families to navigate the plethora of school-related issues and the bureaucracy involved with our schools. And I have maintained a consistent in-person and online presence to encourage engagement and participation in our district, as well as to foster transparency year-round, year after year, not just during election season. I've worked with lawmakers on legislation that positively impacts our learning environment, and I'm in and around our school staff, students, and parents more than most, and see exactly what I'm fighting for every time I'm there. And as some of you guys may have noticed, I don't give up. So my actions speak louder than words, and I hope my actions will earn your vote next Tuesday.
All right. Mayor Heiliger, would you like to come up here? We'll go ahead and give her 5 minutes. Is that enough?
Oh, gosh, yes, please.
Okay.
Do you want me to use this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll come over here. Thank you. First thing, thank everyone for coming tonight. And more than anybody, I want to give a hand to all of these candidates, because one of the most brave things that I have experienced is putting your name on a ballot, right? And running for a public office, being open to feedback that you get from the community, which is not always kind or easy, but it is important, right? So I appreciate that very much. The only thing I want to talk about really from the city's perspective is SB3 and the impact it will have on Wright City. So SB3 is a tax that proposes to freeze personal property, that will freeze property taxes for residents in the Wright City District. What it's important to understand is it will roll our budget numbers back to 2024 and freeze them there indefinitely, forever. So all of our costs continue to rise, most especially labor. So in order for us to the point many have made tonight, retain employees, when costs are rising and your revenue is frozen, it's impossible to retain people because you don't have the money to give them the increases they deserve. That's the biggest piece. Insurance rates are going up ridiculous, right? Those costs will continue to rise. That's not going to change. So for our state legislature to say we're going to freeze your revenue forever, but we're going to continue to allow costs to rise, it's unimaginable for a taxing entity, right? And these aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet, these are people. It's the people you see in front of you, it's every ambulance driver, it's every firefighter, it's every police officer, it's the people that work in our libraries, it's the people that work in our parks, it's the people that work for cities. All of these folks will directly be impacted by SB3. So we ask you to take that into account when you go to vote. These are real facts that we're dealing with, and they're not going to go away. The other impact to all of us will be if our state legislature is successful in switching to sales tax being a driver. The biggest challenge with that is you can't treat urban areas the same way you treat rural areas. You just can't. They're not the same. They don't have the same opportunity for sales tax growth. And it impacts, to Alice's point, it's the biggest impact on the poor. Right? These are people that are already struggling to feed themselves. And then we change, our state is right now recommending this, the House has sent to Congress, an increase in state sales tax from 4% to 13%. And that's just the base rate. So then you add on all the local taxes on top of that, there will be districts where that tax rate will be higher than 25%. So the other part about sales tax that's important is the least transparent tax that exists on the roll. Right? If you asked anybody, what'd you pay in property tax last year, they can probably tell you pretty close, right? No one can tell you what they paid in sales tax last year. Nobody. Because everywhere you go, you're charged a different rate. It adds up quietly, and it all depends on what you're buying. If you buy a car, if you whatever that looks like. You don't have any idea what you paid. So for them to increase sales tax and call it replacement revenue is just not realistic. So those are the things I ask you to think about when you go to the polls, but most importantly, go to the polls. It's important that you vote. We have very, very low voter turnout in Wright City, 12%, right? So we need to encourage people to come to the polls and share their opinion, give us feedback, let us know what you think so that we can implement changes that you want to see happen. So thank you again for coming. Thank you to all of our candidates who are here tonight. Oh, thank you. One more thing real quickly, just for the record. Wright City has never had a data center offered to us, ever. So the idea that we have rejected them is untrue. It's never come in front of us. So that's just for the record, that's exactly the way it worked. Any questions? Carrie is also running unopposed in this election. If you have any questions, we'll both be here. We're happy to engage with you. And I'm sure all the other candidates will too. So thank you again.
All right, we can get you guys home. Yes.
Everybody can go out this door.
You can go out the side door. So, again, thank you guys for, like she said, putting your names on the ballot, doing the things, being involved in the community. If you guys aren't involved in the community, there are a lot of things to get involved with. So just look for Facebook. There's something out there for you. Thank you for all of you coming. Thank you for letting the Wright City Chamber host this and put this on. But encourage those that weren't here to make sure they're out there and they're voting as well. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close, but I would like to pray us out, okay? So if you bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all the people here. Thank you for all the wonderful conversations and everybody having loving words and not disparaging one another. Help us continue to build each other up and not to tear each other down, and that we continue to make this the best city that we can. And Lord, we'll do it through you. And give us wisdom and discernment. Lord, have everybody praying. And just we know that if a righteous person prays, it is powerful and effective. So bestow that upon Wright City. Bless our city. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.